As much as I've been able, yeah. I mean, I can't profess to have woken up in 2 in the morning for every match. Enjoyed the match last night. Yeah. I thought that was a good one. I think, as we go here, there's going to be some really exciting ones.
Which occurred
With that from the teams that are left. Serena Wigvam was a teammate of mine at North Carolina, the English coach. So really rooting for her. I think that they've come on stronger as the event's gone on. But I've always said, if Japan figures out a way to score goals, the whole world's in trouble because they can keep the ball like no other. And 18-18, they've shown that they've done that. I think they've had, some matches over 500 passes, and they're scoring brilliant goals. So I mean, I would like Serena to have more success, but I'm thinking that it could be Japan.
Well, not after this morning.
Oh, did they lose?
to give anything.
Did they lose? Well, there you go. Forget everything I just said.
Last week.
Sweden beat them. Well, and that's going to be another thorn in the U.S.'s side then, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, geez. Well, what do I know?
So you say the U.S. team needed Trinity on their team, you're saying?
Well, I think it's really tough to win an event. You're over in another country. It's a 3-week event. You got to try to build momentum. The U.S. had left a lot of talent injured here, right? I think Mallory Pugh Swanson, and she actually injured herself here in Austin. I think if they had her, she had scored 12 of their goals in the lead-up play. I think that was a big miss. And then, Sauerbrunn, their captain center back, a big leadership role. So it's not easy. I'm in coaching, so I'm never, ever going to be critical. But it's tough. Everybody's playing well. There's so many talented players.
Does that kind of hurt momentum for the sport and then trickle down to college level when they don't?
Well, I think it's more on the flip side. I think everybody's more bummed that it isn't increasing momentum, right? That we're not waking up in the middle of the night to watch. And there is going to be people talking like the U.S. should have beat Sweden, so now they're going to be saying the U.S. should be in the semifinal, right? Had they had the chance to play Japan. So it's great for the game because there's so much more parity. There's so many more countries around the world that have put money into their women's programs, and being one of the people that have helped this game grow in this country, it's wonderful to see, right? And the U.S. will always still have a talent pool that is so deep to pull from. And I think they'll continue to progress just like they always have. They just need to know that there's other people just nipping at their heels.
And there's a lot of parity in the Big 12 this year, too. Kind of surprised you guys won the conference last year, but you weren't the favorite entering this year. I think BYU was the top player of the preseason poll.
Yeah, I think I heard Sark speaking to you guys about that as well. We always, I think as a coaching group, always get a little giggle from the preseason polls, right? I'm grateful we don't do a freshman Big 12 team coming in because that was always really a little bit farcical as well. What Sark said, you got to play, right? If that's where the coaches feel like we are, c'est la vie, right? But we're doing the things that we need to do. And very similar to what Sark just mentioned, I haven't heard our team mention one ounce about it. I haven't seen it got as much attention in the reposts, right, on our social media. I think our team understands it, and I think it'll be a little bit of a motivational tool when conference time comes around. But we have a ton of respect for our whole conference. It's been tight. BYU coming in to a new conference, if people want to give them that much respect, then great. They're a quality opponent. TCU obviously historically has done well. We played TCU in the spring and had a really favorable result against them. We played them last fall. We had a really favorable result. So we're going to go after every opponent. West Virginia was up there as well, Texas Tech. I mean, you go down we're going to have tough matches against everyone. We're just excited that for our home slate, 13 home games, and the teams that we have at home in conference, we're really excited to play them here.
Was last year bittersweet in the sense that you win the Big 12 first time over 20 years, and then you get eliminated in the second round by 2. That made you?
Oh, I think no, I think it's this program has been right on the verge of conference titles over the past 5 years, and was really pleased. I think that's something that every program here at the University of Texas needs to do, is wanting to do. We'd like to win and get out, if you will, right? As this is our departing year in the Big 12. CDC hasn't been shy in saying we'd like to give the present of 20 conference titles and then say good luck. But every team's vying for that, as you know, every year. That's the ultimate goal, as well as getting to the Final Four and winning national titles. And I think with the success of our athletic program over these past couple years, everybody is just all cylinders a go. And I'm so excited for Coach Sark and his group. You can hear it in his voice. I mean, he's got his program where he wants them to be, and I'm one of his biggest fans. He's a tremendous coach and a wonderful man, fully supportive of all the other sports. So Jared Elliott, another dear friend of mine, we all get to start, right? Along with cross country and Flo's group. So everybody's pulling for everybody, and it's just a really, really great time to be here at Texas.
I think a dozen of your players were on the same club team in the Dallas area, and I think they won a national championship.
Couple.
Yeah. Is that by design to get a lot of kids that played together and succeeded together, or is it kind of just circumstantial that these players didn't get it?
Well, I think what you do is you try to recruit the best talent in combination, right? Positional and that you can around the country. It just so happens that it happens to be a club up in Dallas, right? Every college coach, every Power 5 coach that has an opportunity to get an in with the top player in America is trying to recruit Dallas. Everybody. So since we've been here, we've understood. I think every coach on this campus understands. You need to win Dallas, right? And that's where the talent pool is in our sport, and we're going to continue to pull from there. But the 12 that we have been tremendous. They've just been phenomenal players. They've taken the program to where I want it to be and where it needs to be. And this year is going to be really special. But they're even better young ladies. I think you spoke to 2 of them yesterday, and those 2 have been committed since they were in 8th grade here. And I've just watched them grow. And Trinity and Lexi are just really, really special. And they're gonna lead this team, and they're gonna carry us this fall.
How would you describe their link on the field? Like when I think Lexi's your midfielder, Trinity's up top. When they link up, like how would you describe what makes them so efficient?
They scored more goals in combination with one another in club than any pairing in the game of soccer in the youth level. I think if their club scored 141 goals, they were in combination for 120. I mean, it's just, if I were to gather all the stats for you, what they've done for the Solar Soccer Club growing up, it's just mind-blowing. And it's like almost like a sixth sense, right? And just watching them move out there, it's fun. It's fun. I'll tell you one thing. I'm happy that they're on my squad, and I'm not trying to prepare to play against them.
Yeah, they've a good scoring tandem as you've had it as far as assisting.
And I've coached for 27 years now, and I've had some All-American goal scorers. I have never had the type of tandem that this tandem is, that Lexi and Trin. They're just really lethal. And the best thing about it is they have so much humility and understanding of the game tactically. It's not just the Lex and Trin show, right? They understand now at the next level you have to be in concert with our front six, and getting outside backs and sharing the ball so it doesn't become predictable. And they've been great about doing that as well.
Coach, I think you'll know more after tomorrow, I'm sure. But just what gives you confidence about this youth group, especially there's so much new in the program?
Well, the young ladies that joined us in January, I feel like they've been here 5 years. I really do. I think culture is the buzzword in coaching right now, but this team is really super tight, and they're all rowing in the right direction. We've already been able to, in the spring, lay groundwork to have tough conversations about, well, hey, everything's great now. What about if you're not getting to start, or if you're not having the playing time, and all these little things that all the coaches talk about, the noise, right? Keeping the noise out. Social media is not going away. So how do we work with it and not allow it to impact us in a negative way? We've talked about all that. So it's been the groundwork's been laid, and all the new players have just really settled in fantastic.
How many of them were ticketed for starting roles?
So the 4 transfers we brought in, right? We had a young lady transfer from North Carolina, a young lady transfer from Florida State. Both of them were in the Final Four last year. A young lady from Boston College and a young lady from Auburn. And if you come watch us play tomorrow night, you'll see all 4 of them start.
Can you talk about Mia a little bit and her being goalie?
I'd love to talk about Mia. She is a wonderful personality, big personality, so good. And I don't know, just like Sark was knocking on, no jinxing anybody. Everybody's human. She's really difficult to score goals against. She's causing Lex and Trin problems because they're so used to scoring, and she's getting her hand to it, right? Her distribution is impeccable. Her range, her athleticism, you're going to see that, is fantastic. Her communication and her presence is almost the most appealing part about it, right? You tell a goalkeeper that commands your box, she's going to command the defensive third for me if I give her that range, right? She comes from a wonderful family. You guys may have heard Tim Howard, the U.S. national team storied goalkeeper. That's her cousin, right? So she's been able to watch the game, and she's going to play for many, many more years. And the same thing I told Abby Smith, one of our goalkeepers, Savannah Madden, who's playing at Houston. Abby's up in New York playing. I'm so proud of them. I've told all of them, told Mia, her best days are not going to be here at Texas, right? It's the 28-year-old goalkeeper that actually comes into their own. But we're going to see some really great days from Mia Justice. Does she play like her cousin? I think, yeah. Oh, that if I didn't articulate that properly, yes, completely cat-like reflexes, great technique, presence. Yeah. I was recruiting. Funny story. I was recruiting in San Diego this summer, and my 2 assistants were beside me. And I was talking with them, and their eyes were getting big. And I said, "What?" They go, "There's this big man running at you." And I go, "There is." Hi, Todd. And then here comes Tim Howard running, comes up, gives me a big hug. And I had done some things with him for the NBC Sports when the EPL was here in town. But he gave me a big hug, picked me up, and they're like, "Oh, thank goodness you know him." And then they realized who it was. And he's going to be at games. He's going to fly in and watch her play. And he said that, "Hey, thank you for taking care of my Mia, and she's so happy and loves it here."
How do you get girls off Final Four teams?
Well, I can't say it's anything that I personally did. We certainly don't pursue people on other teams, right? But I will say that our program has a buzz around it. This athletic program speaks for itself over the years, over these past few years. And I think the word on the street out there is if you want to be a professional soccer player and you want to get treated better than what you're going to be treated out there as a pro, then you go to University of Texas, because that's where they treat their female athletes to the epitome of what they can do. So I think they knew this. They know. I think the word is also that culture is real for us. That we're interested in developing the whole complete person. For me, it's more important for me to see them grow and have their degree and have the option to go pro, and for us to develop them to have those options, than it is for them to win me a game.
Is NIL over in soccer like it is?
We're not allowed to even say that to any of the recruits, right? You know, it's a thing. It's out there. I'm not involved in it, but I think, you know, there's a few of our players that are certainly benefiting from it.
How would you describe the overall vibe of your team right now? Like last year you guys were so gritty, but what's it like this year?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of grit, right? I'm just gonna take a little sip of this. We have a motto that we just spoke about. We have a gentleman that works with our team, Lucas Jaden, who's wrote quite a few books. The book that we've just read together is Twin Thieves. And Lucas just spoke with them yesterday. And we have a motto, Gus, grit, unity, and selflessness. And when the 4 players came in and a new freshman in January, with all this experience, you think that they might want to change. It might not resonate with them. Well, they kept grit in the spring, and I was just told this morning that grit's what we're about. It's what resonates with the players. So they want to emulate all of that grit, right? That usually comes on the pitch, right? And they want to be unified in how they do it, and they want to be completely selfless for their teammates on and off the pitch. So we're all about that. And I think one thing that you'll definitely see, because it's a focus, is the grittiness of our squad.
Between the lines, especially early in the season, what's kind of your biggest concern for this team?
You know, I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good. I think there's always, our game is a transitional game, and it's a cruel game. All of you have watched the World Cup. It's cruel. Like, there's inches, right? U.S. was very fortunate inches against Portugal with the post, right? And then not so fortunate with a cruel way to win or lose is the PKs. So I think sometimes, you know, as a concern is we can have 70% possession and we can dominate an opponent, and, you know, keepers can make great saves. You know, it's just having the steadfastness to go ahead and make sure we put the ball in the back of the net. And because we're so attack-minded, just always talking with the players like Amia Justice, with the Abby Allens and our center backs. Hey, how are we organized for the counter, right? As we throw so many numbers forward. So those are the things that the attacking prowess, that's natural. If I stay out of their way, they should be in good shape. I just want to make sure we're organized for the other things that the game can bring.
You mentioned Jared earlier, and he's a guy who's obsessed with growing the game, has a million different ideas about how to do that for volleyball. For you in soccer, what ideas do you have to grow, you know, the soccer, especially the interest in the Austin area?
Yeah, well, just a note on Jarrett. I get more texts in the middle of the night of a soccer video from Jarrett Elliott than I do from anybody else. Him and his wife love the game of soccer all over the world. So he's a dear, dear friend. But his mind, he is so creative, and he has fantastic ideas for his sport and for our total athletic program. So for me, I love that it's growing in the world. I love that there's been more money put into the women's game. I think here in Austin it's the natural. You'd be surprised if I didn't mention it. You know, we'd love to get a women's pro team here, right? With under the umbrella of Austin FC would just make sense, it would seem. And I think that the town is ready for that with the support they've shown for Austin FC and the way the game's grown. And I think the NWSL, Dallas or Austin, they've had the team in Houston for a long time, right? But those two venues, because of the talent pool at the youth level, it just seems really natural for them to either one of our talents to get a game or to get a team. But I just think we just need to continue to get more quality coaches in the game. Always trying to get more women in the game coaching. A lot of these players still grow up, and I'm their first female coach they've had, right? And you know, I've been in the game playing or, you know, coaching now 40 some odd years. So it's still a long way to progress. But just investing in the players and having quality people that are directing them.
Anything else?
Is there one phase you feel like are much better than last year? Is it more athleticism, better defense, or weapons?
So last year we had our super seniors, right? And you always, when you enjoy your group, you're always, when you have a senior that leaves, you're like, oh, I wish I could have one more season with you. And they usually feel the same way. Emma Regan and her group, that was that for me. The pandemic was hard for all of us, but I found a lot of silver linings in the pandemic. And our super seniors last year, that was fantastic. That also gave me the ability to have space to bring in those players in January, right? So I thought we were going to be, I never, Pat Summitt told me coaches can never rebuild, right? That just means that you weren't paying attention 2 years ago when you needed to be reloading, right? But we were truly reloaded in January, right? To lose a captain and a player such as an Emma Regan, well, I feel like we lost 4 of them and we replaced them with 5 with that maturity, right? It's hard to replace maturity. And I feel like our team hasn't missed a beat from that, which is something that I was thinking we might have to in the maturity scale. And we've actually increased there. So I feel kind of good about that.
Good chemistry.